You're here to bring that thing to the world that you've been afraid of doing. Your ego has been afraid, and your soul has been waiting. But it's always been there. It could be anything. You know what that is. I don't need to tell you what that is. You know perfectly well what that is. And if you don't, that's even more exciting, because you get to try different things. Try those things that you know you want to try and you're not allowing. To be an artist means to allow yourself, your true self, to come through and take the lead, and leaving the chatter, the mental chatter, all that perfectionism that ends nowhere, all of those things that keep us stuck in limitation and don't allow us to share with the world. There's a clear distinction between the ego and the art, and the art belongs to the soul. The ego sometimes amplifies the vision of the aesthetics of the art, let's say, of a project, of an artist, everything that decorates. But the essence, that is coming from the soul. And I'm getting a clear message saying that we need to sing, that we need to paint, that we need to resume your art that comes from within. And lately, since everything has been so rough for many of us when it comes to feeling and sensing the energies and all of the ascension symptoms and all of the shedding of the old, maybe we forgot about connecting to and with your soul and to and with your art, because you are art, not your ego, not to define your person, but what comes from within, that's the art. And what I wanted to say that I'm getting just now is, if you're having some form of resistance, like let's say you want to sing and you're afraid of going in public, or let's say you want to paint but you're afraid of showing your work to somebody else, first we need to validate our soul, our true self, and we need to shed the part of ourselves that it's not necessarily allowing you to do that because of the resistance. And that resistance is silent, but it's a silent killer of your art, because when you don't do things that come from your soul because you feel like constricted or sort of little, the thing is, the very thing that feels that way is your ego. But there's a reason why your art wants to come through you, and there's a reason why you've been chosen to do the thing you do the way you do it. When it comes to art, it's your own expression, and to evolve in that expression, we need to learn to actually allow the process to happen, to then move to a different one, not to be stuck in a rut for years with the same thing, because you're not giving your soul's expansion. So a few things we could do to stop suffering from this sort of ego procrastination, to not allow the soul to shine through, is realize that if there's a voice, let's say you are going on to sing on stage and there's a voice saying you're gonna ruin this, or you're not good enough, or things like that, we need to at that point recognize that voice, say to ourselves, like, you can even say it out loud, that is not true. And you think of the version that is already singing, that is feeling comfortable, is feeling natural. And whenever the other voice comes, you acknowledge it's just a voice and say, that is not true. I'm here and I will sing and I will do the thing I want to do. And here's the thing that it's the most profound to me, and that has changed my life in many, many ways, When you start doing things that you truly enjoy, or those things that you maybe don't understand, but you do them anyway because you feel so compelled to do it, because you feel so aligned, or you feel that the time is flying, and as it should, time doesn't exist when you do that thing. When we recognize that thing and we actually allow ourselves to merge that into our art, for that to become part of our art or the art itself, that's when we don't care about the external validation, or, oh, how did I do? Was that perfect? How was the detailed thing? How was the performance? You don't care about anything else, because it's just the transmission of your authenticity through art. And that is so important. That is so important, because that is giving your blueprint to the world. That is going to be your self-expression, and that is what resonates with others. Not the trying to control and to sing a certain way, to copy some other guy, or to write a book that is inspired on some other book, but you feel you might be copying it. Let that voice go. Start doing the thing the way you want to do it, and then see how it takes shape. And that's where the synchronicities will come into place. And when it comes to music, writing, art in general, something happens where when you trust, when you allow yourself to let go of the mind completely, spirit comes in and you start channeling the art through your soul, and it's the most beautiful thing. That's why some artists, when you see them, you sense that they are connecting to something else, and they are bringing that connection, and that's why you feel the way you feel. And you can achieve that for yourself. And the minute we allow ourselves to be in burnout, in stress mode, in panic mode, the only thing we do is like we access your ego. You give access to your ego to take the wheel and drive. And that is an old story. Right now we are in the era of authenticity, self-expression. But when I say self, I mean the self with the capital S. It's not about the name of the act. It's not about how the act looks. It's not about anything else. Those are things that you can shape accordingly, because the aesthetics can be a beautiful thing in art. Absolutely, by all means. And that could be the art form itself, but not in a way that is controlling and hectic. That work, the refinement of the art, could be hectic. And that is also one of the things that we need to learn to control. Is without a regulated nervous system, art really doesn't work. Or it does work, but it's killing the artist. But the spark doesn't have anything to do with all of the surrounding emotions and feelings, on overwhelmed and self-image. The art is beyond that, and you are that. So why not let go of the thing that is not allowing you to do the thing? Because a voice comes and starts saying stuff to you before going on stage, before sharing something, before speaking out in public. Do it for you, and you'll see how you'll find resonance with others by being authentic. There's nothing worse than finding resonance with people when you don't connect with your work, and that could happen as well. So when things become too commercialized, or when we are doing stuff that we don't want to do, but we've been convinced somehow. I feel you have to do it for yourself, again, with the capital S. And the rest, it will accommodate. So if there's one thing that you want to share with others, with the world, allow yourself to do so. And don't do that because you want to share it with everyone else. The connection will come the more you focus on the thing itself. The thing itself will become the means of expression and the means of connection with others. Maybe that's why you haven't been connecting with others at all recently. I've been guilty of that many years in what I do. And the moment you realize it's about the art itself and not trying to change it according to other people's expectations or even your own insecurities, allow your soul to shine. Thank you so much for being here, and let me know in the comments what you're gonna do next. Much love.